Good morning. Mwaramtse. Bonjour. Habari ya asubuhi. Asante. Let me quickly see who's visiting Kigali for the first time so that we give you a wonderful welcome to the city. Anyone visiting for the first time? Okay, there are quite a few. Let's give them, yes, the Kigalians, let's give them a round of applause and a warm welcome. Murakaza neza. We do hope you will enjoy your stay in Kigali. And as your gracious hosts, we promise to do our best to ensure that you come back. All right? Thank you so much. So if you're seated next to somebody who's visiting for the first time, make sure you hold their hand throughout the breaks. Anytime we have a break, so that we can tell them the good things about the city and have them return whenever they're able to. Murakaza neza, once again, over the next few days, well, it started yesterday, we will be reconnecting, exchanging ideas, networking, reinforcing the partnerships that are already existing and possibly starting new partnerships. There's an agenda, and I'm sure you've interacted with that agenda, but I need to point out this. We have speeches, we've got panel discussions, we have the signing of I2 and 3IF ventures, but at the heart of it all, at the heart of these 3 days is you. You in this room, the shareholder, the regulator, the development partner, the industry leader. It's about you and the conversations that you will have, the connections you will make, the ideas that you will share with your fellows, and the ideas that you will take out of this room. We hope that you're not going to leave this room the same way you walked in. So I take this opportunity to invite you to be fully present and fully engaged. My name is Jackie Lumbasi, and it's a great honor for me to be spending the day with you. And our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to invite someone special who will welcome us into this place officially. You know, as the MC, I will welcome you, but there's a special person who will offer the official welcome. She will also set the tone for the rest of the day. Please join me as I welcome on stage the Managing Director and Group CEO of ZEP-RE, Hope Murera.
Thank you, Jackie. I believe you have some nationality here, right? It has happened? Right. Your Excellency, Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Planning of the Republic of Rwanda, Governor of the National Bank of Rwanda, I believe she's not here, she'll be here shortly, distinguished shareholders gathered here, Chairperson of the ZEP-RE board and members of my board, distinguished clients, partners, and invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, Murakaza neza. Do you understand all that? I do welcome you to our 35th annual general meetings. Let me begin by thanking the government of Rwanda for hosting us and for the hospitality extended to all of us. Last evening, Honorable Minister, was exquisite, the dancing was amazing, and we are all very grateful. Of course, I must declare a conflict, that this is my home, so I'll speak very well about it, but I think it is justified, right? I think it is justified. Rwanda is a country that has made deliberate choices over time, particularly on how it builds institutions and how it manages risk. And this is something that we can all relate to in this room. Ladies and gentlemen, across our continent, there is a pattern we are all familiar with. When disasters happen, governments step in to rebuild, roads are repaired, hospitals are restored, farmers try to recover what they have lost, resources are eventually found, but a little late and a little too little. But also in many cases, this comes as debt, expensive debt, which remains long after the disasters. At the same time, the people most affected, mainly smallholder farmers, small businesses, women and youth, don't have protection at all. This is the gap that we seek as an industry to address, to help close. The environment we're operating in is not getting easier, whether it's climate-related, whether it's fiscal space, whether it's global developments across the world that are impacting us. Insurance should be playing a stronger role in absorbing these shocks and de-risking the economies. But penetration remains low, and risk financing across the continent is not as coordinated or accessible or affordable as it should be. As ZEP-RE, we see this clearly. For over 3 decades, we've built a business grounded in underwriting discipline, supporting insurers across our markets with capacity and technical expertise, and maintaining strong balance sheet and credit ratings. These foundations remain important, but increasingly the question is how we use the capacity and the mandate that we have, and whether it is reaching the areas where the need is greatest. Let me give one example. In the Horn of Africa, Your Excellency, pastoralist communities depend entirely on their livestock. When drought comes, and it's not just in the Horn of Africa, it's across many regions on the continent. When drought comes, they lose everything. And for a long time, there was no insurance solution available to them. Through the DRIVE project, funded by the World Bank, that has started to change. Today, these communities can receive payouts before the full impact of drought is felt, not as aid, but as policyholders. And what has been interesting is that today the pastoralists are contributing close to 25% of their premiums on their own. So progressively, this is something that we can enable. This is a different way of thinking about risk and about protection. We are seeing similar approaches across different parts of our work. Through the COMESA Yellow Card, through the COMESA RCTG, we are bringing this to the continent. Through our Africa Nature Risk Pool, we are addressing risks such as human-wildlife conflict. None of this happens on its own. Every one of these has depended on strong partnerships with governments, with regulators, many of them in this room, with development partners present here, insurers, and others in this room. That is the only way this works. And as we begin today's discussions, we will focus on 2 areas. Disaster risk financing, the protection of critical public assets and government budgets. Infrastructure, which is roads, hospitals, energy systems, is central to development, is central to our livelihoods. When it is damaged or destroyed, recovery should not depend on emergency measures alone. There are ways to structure that risk in advance, and insurance has a role to play in that. It is not the only solution, but it is one of the solutions. And we are willing and able to contribute to that. The second is how to extend insurance to the people and businesses that are currently outside of the protection system. We know the channels that exist, banking platforms, mobile money, digital ecosystems. How do you use them effectively? We don't have to reinvent the wheel in a way that is practical, affordable, and sustainable. These are not new questions, but they are becoming more urgent. And they cannot be addressed by one institution or one industry. Our role is bringing together underwriting capacity, regional approach, partnerships, pooling of risks and capacity to support solutions that are relevant to our markets. Ladies and gentlemen, year after year, we continue to rebuild after events that could have been better prepared for. That is the gap. And that is the one that over time, if we are deliberate, we can help close. The discussions we have today are part of that process. With these remarks, it's now my pleasure to invite the chairperson of the ZEP-RE board for his address. Thank you, Murakoze.
Good morning, everyone. I'm standing here on behalf of our chair, who couldn't make it for this meeting. She's been delayed. That is Her Excellency and Secretary General of COMESA, Madame Chileche Kapwepwe. She'll be joining us either later this evening or tomorrow morning. So she asked me to hold fort whilst she finds a way here. Our chief guest, Honorable Yusuf Murangwa, Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Republic of Rwanda, the Governor of the Reserve Bank, Honorable Soraya Munyana, Akuzia Ramwe. I hope she's in now, I'm not sure. Shareholders of ZEP-RE, PTA Insurance Company, the insurance regulators present, and we've got quite a number, CEOs of industry and industry captains, and our partners, some of which are my friends from South Africa here. Welcome. The board of, may I just ask my board, please, just to stand up, the board of ZEP-RE, just people to see you, if you don't mind. That is our board. And then management staff of ZEP-RE. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In my home language, I would say Mamuka Sei, that is in Shona. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the ZEP-RE annual meetings. The gatherings brings together leaders, partners, and practitioners who understand the realities of Africa's insurance landscape, its gaps, its opportunities, and its importance to the continent's economic resilience. It also brings together those who have committed consistently and deliberately to strengthening that landscape. The challenges before us as an industry are significant. Africa remains underinsured to a great extent, and the consequences of that are felt across our economies and communities. Addressing this requires more than individual effort. It requires collective engagement, shared insights, and purposeful dialogue. This is what makes this forum both timely and important. Allow me to extend a particular welcome to our chief guest, Honorable Yusuf Murangwa, Minister of Finance and Economic Planning of the Republic of Rwanda. Honorable Minister, your presence at our meeting speaks to the strength of the partnership between ZEP-RE and the government of Rwanda. ZEP-RE. ZEP-RE. We acknowledge and thank the government of Rwanda for the support that you have given and shown to us over the years. We had a preliminary discussion with the minister just before he came in here. He was very clear to us as the board of some of his disappointments with insurance, and also he was also very clear as to what he expects of us. So we hope that after these meetings, the insurance industry, and I'm sure the minister will talk on that, the insurance industry present here will take heed. Ladies and gentlemen, ZEP-RE was founded on a bold and deliberate vision that Africa should build on and direct its reinsurance capacity. This vision, first articulated by our founding member states in 1990, has been sustained through the commitment of our shareholders, the stewardship of successive boards, and the dedication of management and staff. And over those years, ZEP-RE has performed very well. We'd like to thank all the successive management, the current being led by Hope Murera, and well done, Hope, and your team for getting us to where we are. These meetings are an expression of ongoing decision, and the 30th annual general meeting, which is what we're having now, forms part of this fixed program. This is an opportunity to account honestly for what the commitment has produced and what it still demands of us. ZEP-RE has made genuine progress. Our insurance solutions are supporting insurers across the continent. Our capacity building is developing the next generation of African insurance professionals. The DRIVE program, delivering index-based, which delivers index-based livestock insurance to pastoralist communities in Kenya, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Djibouti, has demonstrated what becomes possible when this institution designs not what the market it has, but what the market should have. And this has been demonstrated very ably. In 2025, ZEP-RE delivered, as is one of our mandates, we achieved excellent financial performance. Revenue grew up by 8.2%. This is in US dollar terms. Profit grew by a whopping 32.3%. The company's assets increased by 10% to just under 570 million, and shareholders' equity currently standing at 387 million US dollars. That is quite significant. If you go across Africa, you won't find many insurance entities with that capitalized to that level. And whilst that is all great, we must also admit that our progress has been a bit slow, and we need to do more as we move on. Insurance penetration is still very low. trust in insurance systems is not yet where it needs to be. Many of the products and solutions required by our markets are yet to reach those who need them. The ambition that founded this institution was not to build a competent regional insurer. It was to transform as well as position the role of insurance in the African economies. Measured against that ambition, the work is far from finished, but we have covered some ground. As a board, we remain committed to closing that gap through sound governance, strategic clarity, and continuous focus on long-term value creation. To our shareholders, many of whom are present today, your continued confidence in ZEP-RE makes this institution possible and viable. We do not take it lightly, and we intend to honor it through performance, through transparency, and through the quality of the decisions of the board and management to doing that on your behalf. To my fellow board members, your governance and your commitment to ZEP-RE's long-term health have been the foundation on which management has built. So we thank you for your efforts in this regard. To the regulators present, your role in creating an enabling environment for this industry to grow is fundamental. The frameworks you build determine what becomes possible for institutions like ZEP-RE and the markets that we serve. We deeply value our partnership, that is with the regulators, and look forward to strengthening it through the conversations we have today, we have had in the past, and will continue to have going forward. We are aware that the annual regulators forums that we have held in collaboration between us and regulators over the last 7 years are a precursor to some of the discussions today. To the CEO and chairpersons of our member companies, you are the industry this institution was built to serve. Your growth is our mandate, your challenges are our brief, and your ambition to grow and develop African insurance markets is what makes gatherings like this worth having. To our developing partners, and we have quite a few, your collaboration is extended to reach what ZEP-RE is extended to reach of what ZEP-RE can do alone. The communities we have been able to serve, the programs we have been able to deliver, the markets we have been able to enter, many of these have been made possible through these partnerships. We are grateful for it and committed to making it work. And to the management and staff of ZEP-RE, your dedication and professionalism are the foundation of all that we have achieved. Every milestone reached and every success recorded is a reflection of that effort and commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, the discussion that will unfold today, be it on disaster risk financing, be it on inclusive insurance, be it on the role of this industry in building the resilience of African economies, have consequences beyond this room and beyond boundaries of our nations. For example, a smallholder farmer in Zambia, a pastoralist in Ethiopia, a market trader in Uganda or in Kenya, and many similar individuals in the varied countries the company operates in, none of them sit in this room. So in other words, people we're trying to save, very few of them sit in this room. But the decision that we are going to make in the next day or two, we'll reach them, and we would like to see that coming through over time. And that is why we are here. We have a responsibility to deliver those services to those people. ZEP-RE was built to serve these people, and that remains our purpose. And it is the purpose I ask everyone in this room, in your individual and respective capacity, to carry into the work that we are doing over time. We are here in Kigali. Now, in closing, it is my honor to invite our chief guest, Honorable Minister Yusuf Murangwa, Minister of Finance and Economic Planning of the Republic of Zambia, to address us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Vice Chairperson. I'm the Minister of Finance for Rwanda. Yeah. But it's understandable. Shareholders of ZEP-RE, the PTA reinsurance company, and again, the Vice Chairperson of ZEP-RE, the Board of Directors of ZEP-RE, insurance regulators that are present here, CEOs and chairpersons of insurance companies, management and staff of ZEP-RE, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the ZEP-RE 2026 annual meetings. We are pleased to co-host this year's meetings with ZEP-RE and extend our sincere appreciation to the management, board, and shareholders for choosing Rwanda. You're welcome. I also congratulate ZEP-RE for the 2025 performance. Rwanda is very proud to be a founding member and shareholder of this very important institution, and we reaffirm our commitment to what it was built to do. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa is underinsured. Insurance penetration in Africa stands at 2.7% against a global average of about 7%. That gap represents hundreds of millions of people who, when disaster strikes, they have nothing between them and destitution, except the goodwill of communities and the responsiveness of their governments. And we know that communities and, in most cases, governments don't have resources to match the challenge. Financial assistance or compensation, therefore, of these people is not guaranteed. The informal sector, the market stall owner, the smallholder farmer, motorcyclists, taxi drivers, are not uninsurable. These economic agents are simply unreached, and there is a profound difference between those two realities. This difference is precisely where growth and opportunities for Africa's insurance industry lie. ZEP-RE has reached out to communities in need with practical solutions. A good example is the DRIVE program, de-risking, inclusion, and value enhancement of pastoralist economies program that is delivering index-based livestock insurance to pastoralists, communities across our countries in the region, Kenya, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Djibouti. This is good proof of what is possible when this industry makes deliberate choices. Many lives and livelihoods have survived droughts because of this program, which is a standard that should guide this industry. For the insurance industry to thrive, of course, governments need to create an enabling environment, align regulation, and champion financial inclusion. However, products innovation, product distribution, product reach, and reinsurance capacity that make all of this possible is for the industry itself to build. While I do commend ZEP-RE on good performance and on the development of initiatives it has undertaken, which span different areas that include agriculture, affordable housing, trade facilitation, small and micro enterprises, disaster risk financing, and inclusive finance. The question that this gathering must answer today and tomorrow is whether we can individually and collectively address the needs and risks our people face at a scale and speed that is required to thrive. Individually, our countries, but also the African continent as a whole. The context we are in, where one more pilot program in one more country, while the gap continues to widen, is not an ambition enough. This is an example of comfortable appearance of progress without the substance of tangible impact. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals are 4 years away, and climate events are not waiting for our industry to catch up. The communities most exposed to floods, drought, and economic shocks are not abstract development statistics. They are our constituents, our citizens, and our collective responsibility. Rwanda is willing to work with both ZEP-RE and other institutions to ensure that meaningful and responsive solutions are developed to address climate change and other risks. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government of Rwanda, I'm honored to declare ZEP-RE's 35th annual general meeting officially open, and we pledge to support decisions that will be agreed upon in these meetings. Thank you very much. Murakoze cyane.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for those wonderful remarks. Honorable Minister, I would love to request you to, after you've placed your folder on the table, if you could please kindly get back on stage and receive a gift that we have prepared for you. Thank you. Thank you so much. The team at ZEP-RE decided that the Honorable Minister will not go back home empty-handed. Hence that lovely package that you see being handed over to our guest of honor.
We promised the Minister that it's very low value. We'll not open it, but just to thank you for your presence.
Thank you very much. I was worried. I was supposed to declare it. Thank you very much.
No. Thank you so much, sir. Encourage.
Thank you very much, our guest of honor, for those wonderful remarks and the remarks that preceded the guest of honor, remarks from the Vice Chair and from Hope, our Managing Director and Group CEO. Thank you very much. We'll have more of such wise words shared throughout the day. And now we're going into real conversations. We have a roundtable session that is coming up. In this roundtable session, we'll go a little bit deeper and explore how insurance can strengthen resilience, support governments, and ultimately protect economies and communities. And to lead us through this session, I have the greatest honor of inviting someone that I have a lot of love and admiration for, someone with an incredible understanding of finance development and impact. And maybe just before I invite this wonderful person, I would love to recognize the presence of the Governor of Central Bank. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Thank you so much. So this wonderful person that I'll be inviting on stage is a bilingual senior executive, board director, and development finance leader with over 2 decades of experience driving economic transformation, institutional reform, and capital mobilization across Rwanda and across Africa. She pioneered innovative financing instruments, including the world's first sustainability-linked bond, and launched Rwanda's first dedicated green finance facility to support private sector climate investments. She previously held senior government leadership roles, most notably as permanent secretary and secretary to the Treasury at Mincofen. She currently serves on various boards, and but I'm being very intentional, I'm not looking at her, so that you don't easily tell who it is. It will be a surprise. You'll see the surprise come on stage. So I'm being very intentional. Until December 2025, she served as, you're about to figure that out, as the Chief Executive Officer of BRD. That's Development Bank of Rwanda. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome on stage Pichette Saizoga.
Thank you, Jackie. That's a very long introduction for a moderator. But thank you very much. Honorable Minister, Honorable Governor, the Vice Chair of the Board of ZEP-RE, MD Hope, and the Board of Directors, all of you present. I hope we're going to have a good time. I know insurance can be fun or insurance can be boring. We need to choose what today is going to be. But we really want to use this roundtable, as mentioned by Jackie, to deep dive into 2 very important topics: disaster risk financing and inclusive insurance. I think both are very timely, as the Minister has mentioned. But to set us off, I really would like to invite someone who needs very little introduction in Rwanda, our Honorable Governor, Madame Soraya Hakuzyaremye. She's our regulator, but she's also a global banker. She's our former Minister of Trade and Industry, so she understands the policy side, the regulatory side, the practitioner side in the finance world, and there's no one better to, I think, set the stage for this roundtable. Honorable Governor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Pichette, our moderator, and Jackie, our wonderful MC. Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, our Vice Chairperson of ZEP-RE, members of the Board of Directors of ZEP-RE, MD and Group CEO of ZEP-RE, distinguished guests, all protocols observed. Good morning, Murahoneza. It is a privilege for me to serve as chair of these distinguished roundtables on the role of insurance in building resilience in economic growth, but also the role of insurance in protecting lives and livelihoods of communities, businesses, and countries. And I warmly welcome you all to this timely and important roundtable. My role will be to briefly set the scene for the 2 panels ahead. As a matter of fact, our panelists have the most difficult role to convince us that insurance still matters, that in the common market of Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, the development and scale of the insurance sector is a priority, and that insurance is one of the fundamental levers for economic growth and economic resilience for our region and our respective countries. When we speak about protecting lives and livelihoods, we are speaking about people we know. A family loses its home to floods, a farmer loses an entire season to drought, a government, a country loses a decade of progress due to a single extreme weather event: hurricanes, floods, prolonged drought. These are not headlines from far away. They are stories from our continent happening more often and with greater force. We meet today because our region is at an inflection point. Our economies are growing, our populations are young, and our digital transformation is accelerating. Yet climate shocks, tighter fiscal space, and global uncertainty are testing the resilience of our communities and our balance sheets. These shocks are no longer rare events. They are part of our new normal. Distinguished guests, Africa carries a significant share of the world's population. 19% of the world population is in Africa. And we know that by 2050, 1 in 4 people in the world will be African. In COMESA's 21 member countries, we have a population of 640 million people. And we know that our continent and our region in particular are on the receiving end of climate shocks. Yet insurance penetration, as the minister mentioned, remains below 3%, and in addition, more than 80% of catastrophe-related losses go uninsured. This means that when a storm hits, the bill still lands with households, with small businesses, and with governments at a time when they can least afford it. To put it in context, research done by ZEP-RE, one of the largest reinsurers globally, estimated that economic losses in Africa over 5 years from 2019 to 2023 reached $32 billion. And this includes losses from floods in Southern Africa in 2022, as well as the earthquake in Morocco in 2023. With a very low insurance coverage of roughly 20%, 25.6 billion was the cost carried by African governments, households, and companies. And this represents 1,700 solar plants, each of producing 10 megawatts of electricity. So let's imagine the economic contribution that such power would have to livelihoods in our continent if that cost had gone to investments instead of covering uninsured losses. I'm certain that I'm preaching to the choir by saying that we must think of insurance as a niche, not as a niche financial product, but start treating it as a strategic tool for economic resilience, fiscal stability, and inclusive growth. At the regional level, we commend the critical role played by ZEP-RE to deepen markets through risk sharing, through technical expertise and innovation while contributing to financial stability in our region. Please join me in a round of applause for the ZEP-RE board, management, and staff for the incredible work they're doing. And here in Rwanda, we are deliberately positioning insurance as a key pillar of our economic strategy. The recently launched National Insurance Strategy is a testament to that resolve. This is a 10-year blueprint that will propel our insurance to a higher level, focusing on 8 pillars, among which digital transformation and data ecosystem, financial sustainability and risk pooling, customer-focused product development, and climate and disaster financing. Distinguished guests, new possibilities are opening up. Digital platforms, mobile money, and embedded insurance models are allowing us to reach people where they are, especially in the informal sector. Sovereign risk pools and parametric products are giving governments faster, more predictable resources when disasters strike. However, key barriers persist. It's been talked about by the vice chairperson. Affordability, very low financial literacy and understanding of insurance products, limited trust, and most critically, fragmented markets and regulations. And none of these barriers will disappear on their own. Hence, our panelists represent different sectors and institutions, and their diverse experiences point to the need for collective effort between regional financial institutions, governments, regulators, and the private sector to close the persisting insurance protection gap. In fact, our roundtable this morning will focus on 3 critical questions. First, how can regulatory and policy frameworks unlock innovation while safeguarding stability? Second, how do we better integrate insurance into the broader financial ecosystem, from banking and capital markets to social protection and public finance? And third, how do we scale inclusive solutions that reach underserved communities, small businesses, and climate-vulnerable countries at meaningful speed and scale? In short, we need to move from promising pilots to systemic impact. That means redesigning how insurance is structured, priced, distributed, and embedded into everyday economic activity, so that insurance coverage is accessible, relevant, and trusted, not a luxury for the few. I am confident that the roundtable will be a frank, solution-oriented, and forward-looking discussion. I'm now handing back the floor to our moderator to guide us through the proceedings, and I thank you very much for your kind attention.